So where can linear programming be used? So again, a lot of it's operational or more day-to-day kind of stuff. And so we see a lot of different application areas that are really resource allocation problems. So we see stuff in manufacturing. So how many products of or how many of each of our different types of products do we produce in order to maximize revenue or profit? We see it in finance where we might want to have a portfolio of different things and we might be minimizing risk due to some budgets and stuff like that. Advertising, we might be trying to maximize reach based on number of advertising campaigns and budgets and all this other stuff. Worker training, construction, oil refining is actually a huge area where LP is used, where we have to do blending problems. We're blending different gasolines, that kind of stuff. And then also networks such as transportations or even telecommunications. So let's look at a couple other things. So we can also look at examples and we can put them into classification. So humans love to do classification. So we're going to sometimes we might call a particular example a product mix example. And this is basically how much of each product the firm should produce to make the best use of its machines and labor while maximizing profit. And so we will look at a couple of those problems because they're relatively straightforward and something that you should be able to get your head around without too much difficulty. Then there's blending, which I talked about for the oil refining. It's ratios of chemicals and ingredients that should go into making a blend of gasoline to meet requirements, for example, octane rating, while minimizing cost. And then we have networks and routing. What's the best way to route trucks in order to meet demand and deadlines while minimizing cost? Or maybe determining the best routes for school buses for a school district. Then we have scheduling. How should we schedule bank tellers to ensure demand needs are met each hour of the workday while minimizing cost of labor? So that's just one example of where we might schedule. We could also think about scheduling people, waiters and waitresses and bartenders at a restaurant. Allocation, what's the best allocation of police patrol units across an area to minimize response time to 911 calls? Obviously there we'd want to be able to get there faster, right? And so we want to know how police patrol units should be kind of stationed throughout the area, at what times of day, stuff like that. And then we have stuff like, we have things like location. Where should fire stations be located in order to provide an adequate coverage of an area and minimize response time? Things like that, all right? So the importance of linear programming, those examples should start to make you think, ooh, I can use this in quite a few places. Yes, you can. And many of the problems lend themselves naturally to linear programming formulation. And ones that don't, we can often approximate them with LP. So it's close enough a match to the assumptions of an LP. We'll see what the assumptions are in just a little bit. That we're okay with forcing it into those assumptions. Also, we have very efficient solution techniques and algorithms to solve linear programming problems. And with a computer, it makes it very, very easy to do this. As long as it's still a linear program, we can solve it very quickly. We're going to use the Excel add-in to do it from Frontline Solvers. It does have some restrictions, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then we get very useful information from linear programming that helps us with sensitivity analysis. So sensitivity analysis, recall, is doing things like what if scenarios for changes in resources. So if my budget is in fact lower than what I thought it was going to be, how does that affect the prescribed recommendation that comes out of the linear programming problem? Obviously, it might change the profit or cost or whatever it is we're maximizing or minimizing, but does it change the allocation of how we were going to do things or the recommendations for what we were told the decision maker to do?